Welcome back to the chat. So you may have heard about a story out of Las Vegas where a mother was shot and killed in what is being called a case of road rage. A 19-year-old teenager, as detectives say, shot and killed a 44-year-old mother. Police say the two knew each other, but the details surrounding that story continue to change. So joining us now is our legal contributor, Heather Quick. And so, listen, this is making a lot of national attention. You know, you can't go on a lot of websites without seeing this as their lead story. But it's a very complicated case. And now I'm even seeing headlines coming out saying it isn't road rage. Like the father of the wife who was killed said he doesn't believe it was road rage. But what, can you kind of simplify it?
Well, it started out as, oh, this is this road rage. Sounds horrible. You know, the headlines, mother killed in act of road rage. The facts, as I've read them so far, okay, there was this alleged road rage incident. Mom goes back, leaves daughter at home, and says, hey, 22-year-old son, get your gun. Let's go back out. Driving down the road with the gun out of the car at who is now the defendant, the teenager. And I think there might have been some shooting, but there was some yelling. So then they turn around and go home, and then he chases them home and kills her. And there's a lot of shots going back and forth, and now he's being charged with murder and attempted murder. And it is very unclear.
What are the defense saying? I mean, are they arguing the point that he followed them? And I mean, they're saying it's self-defense in some regards, aren't they?
Yeah, he's not going to get into self-defense. I mean, he got in his car and chased them and then shot them. And really, is it road rage? Did there exist any road rage with those two? It was the mother and the daughter that she left at home. And, you know,
so
her
the mother
actions,
was out giving her driving lessons or something? The mother was out with the daughter. The incident happened with this young man. She brought, that's when you're saying she brought the daughter home.
She brought the daughter home, left her daughter at home, but got her 22-year-old son and his gun.
Him and his gun.
Let's go. And now apparently the teenager who's in custody is somebody the family knew.
Right.
And they knew he was a bad kid, but they had helped him out over the years.
They'd given him money, they'd taken him in under the, and food and
But then there was also the question of the windows were tinted and they might not have noticed who was driving which car. But it's regardless, whether it was road rage or not. I mean, someone was shot and killed.
Yeah. That's right, and I think we could be that makes a lot of headlines, but maybe there was no road rage with that particular person. And really what we have is teenager killing a mom and a shootout on their house.
Why wouldn't the mother go to the police instead of doing this?
Going and getting a gun and her kid.
It just doesn't make sense.
It's a very poor choice. You know, people do that all the time, though. They're like, oh, we're going to go fix this
grab
ourselves.
Your kid and a weapon.
Well, that's a really bad choice. I know, but I mean, come on. People do stuff like that all the time. Their ego, their defense. Let's go teach them a lesson versus calling the cops. You know, I don't
even
get
after
it
the
either
fact, the son, the 22-year-old who did get his gun, made a statement on, I saw it, you know, I was in California, but I saw it, him saying that I would do it again and I'm protecting my family. Like, he absolutely stood up for himself and what he did.
So you don't know what happened before that? What
kind of vigilante stuff they were doing?
Does it matter at the end of the day? This kid followed her and then is accused of shooting this woman. So at the end of the day, do any of those circumstances that lead up to it make a bit of difference?
I don't think so, because of, like, if they were at the scene and that happened, they would have come to that and created that violence and self-defense. But from what I understand, they left. He followed them, shoot out at the front of the house with the family. So they're,
and then they were on a search for him.
Yes, and so, I mean, he is going to jail.
And every day new details are coming out, so I'm sure we'll have you
we're
back
going
on
to learn
talk
more.
about.
I agree.
All right, so something else we wanted to get your take on is that deadly crash involving Bruce Jenner. A new video of the fatal crash reportedly shows that Bruce Jenner may be at fault. So the original story placed Bruce as the only person involved, running into the back of the stopped car. But now that video shows how he rear-ended the two cars, one of which is pushed into traffic, and the person who is in that car was hit and killed. So how can you use these videos in court? Can you submit something like that as evidence?
Well, that's a reconstruction, but apparently there is some video footage.
From a bus, like
from the bus, which of course won't be that detailed, I'm sure. And so as the prosecutors decide whether or not to make a case, they'll have to use the actual videos and footage they have. And yes, there are instances where you can present a recreation, depending on if the court finds that to be too prejudicial to the defendant or not.
Pretty,
and so, if it's like, actually let them watch what the true videos show, let them draw their own conclusions rather than recreate one that would clearly show him at fault. But then as the defense, they may have their own recreation based on, which they call that accident reconstruction, and they're experts in that field all the time because this happens a lot. And that will happen more likely than not in a civil case that will certainly be filed after a criminal case.
Now you mentioned criminal case, and initially I remember they were saying that, well, they were checking to see if he was texting, and we all know that if you text and you cause an accident, there are charges, but if he wasn't, and I think they found out that he wasn't texting.
Right.
So, I mean, how come he can be charged with criminal charges? Sometimes it's called an accident because it's an accident, right?
Well, but we do have, when we look at the reasonable person, and was he acting reckless? Because there is reckless driving, and did those actions cause the death, or was it careless? And that will be within the investigation from the police side as far as how fast was he going? Was he appropriate speed for trailing something? Because I'm sure that affects his ability to stop and react. And we all have an obligation to drive safely. If it is determined he didn't, based on what they investigate, there was nothing criminal, then I would doubt he will be charged criminally.
Yeah, but then we'll stay tuned for a civil case. Which
Oh,
will come out.
I can guarantee you a civil case is
yeah.
probably are in the making as we speak.
One last thing we wanted to talk about that's in the headlines, it's all about Facebook. It's expected to roll out a new program that allows its users to, it will be recognized. I guess you take your picture and it's posted on Facebook. It'll automatically tag you. I guess there's like facial recognition software. And so first of all, this has a lot of people concerned. Why are so many people concerned about whether or not they're going to be tagged in Facebook?
Well, your privacy issues, which again, I know we talk about this a lot with the internet, and there is no privacy on the internet, and people have this false belief, and they've signed up in this Facebook, and this is all private. I just personally disagree with that, and I think you subject yourself to a lot of open public people viewing what you post on Facebook. And I think they're concerned, okay, well, what does this mean for the photos that I've posted? And several of us post photos of your kids, and it is a nice way to share with family and friends. Okay, so now they're going to be tagged, and then they're going to be traced. Like, what does that mean for my privacy? And
well, it's like we were talking about
yeah.
before on the show a long time ago, the rules and regulations, like who goes and reads all the rules and regulations,
Yeah.
and
Just
then
click, I agree,
Yeah,
I
accept,
agree.
yeah.
Right, you do, because you want to use the service, and you
Right.
have to agree to their terms in order to use the service. And we were talking about how people were getting very fired up a long time ago that they were using all the data that we were posting on our Facebook news feeds
Right.
to then use it for research. And so people were crying foul with that, and now there's this.
Well, when they started with this, I liked it because it would suggest tags for everybody in my picture, and I was like, great, I don't have to go and tag everybody.
Right.
But I think the difference here is that you're now going to be tagged in everything and anything that anybody
Yes.
posts.
But there's an option in this, they're calling it Deep Face, this program or whatever, that's what it's named. There's, I know, like Deep Throat, option to blur out the face so that you can protect your privacy. Is that even possible? In the article that I was reading, like that you have an option to protect your own privacy with a blur.
But you have to
Bars
read all the
across the-
fine print to try to figure out how that stuff works. I'm
Is it
still
even
trying to
worth it?
figure
Just-
out.
It is.
the
If
settings.
you're that concerned, then just don't
Yeah,
go on
yeah,
there,
yeah.
and you try to keep your privacy.
Yeah, but how many people
function.
use Facebook? I mean, it's a great way to
Millions and
connect.
millions.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
exactly
is.
right.
I'm more worried about the pictures I don't look
But I can
particularly
do
pretty
without
in.
Right.
That would be
My
my
eyes are-
concern.
my
Yeah,
eyes are
those, like,
closed.
Yeah, that's my
like,
two
no,
of
that
them.
was the one I deleted. I didn't want that one
not me.
posted.
That can't possibly be me. All right, thank you, Heather. We appreciate you. And if you have any questions or need any legal advice, you can check out the Quick Law Group's website, which is quicklawgroup.com. And still to come on the chat, if you could know the one thing that predicts divorce 90% of the time, would you want to know what it is? Our relationship expert, Dr. Richard Marks, says he has that reason, and he's going to share that with us coming up next.